Olá, pessoal, famílias do Brookside. Como estás? I am here today to take you on another field trip. So, there's a few clues. Number one, I was speaking Portuguese. Number two, I am wearing my colors, my flag, the bandeira of this country, green, blue, and yellow, and white. And I have one more clue for you. Where do you think we might be going? That's right. This week, we are going to Brazil. Brazil. This is where my family is from. So come with me to Brazil. So this week was especially exciting for me because, as I mentioned, my mother's family is from Brazil, so half of my family is from there, and I grew up with a lot of stories about the beauty of Brazil, and I was raised very much with the culture of Brazil and the very loving and open way that the culture is there. So we are going to be exploring all of those things, including the delicious, delicious food. So here we go. Okay, so we are going to start, as always, with our Brazil virtual field trip blog. And then we're going to move on to watch some introductory videos about Brazil. So there is some really cool videos from some kids your age who teach you about what it's like to live in Brazil. This first one is from a girl who is an immigrant to the United States and lives in Florida and talks about what it is like to live where she lived in Brazil. And then we have some Brazil facts for kids. And the interesting thing about Brazil is that it's very similar to America, actually, in that its history is very similar, and it's a huge melting pot of people. There are people of all kinds of races, ethnicities, and backgrounds there. And the other thing about Brazil that's similar to the United States is that it's almost as large as the United States. It's actually it's the largest country in all of South America and all of Latin America as well. The only thing that separates Brazil from all other Latin American nations is that we speak a different language. We speak Portuguese in Brazil because it was founded by Portuguese colonists, where the rest of Latin America was founded by Spanish colonists, and that's the reason why we have a different language. So that is the how big it is. That's the size of it and how it's quite similar to America in that way. What's very different is it's in a tropical climate. So then we're going to move on to exploring Brazil, and where they speak Portuguese. And the first thing we're going to do is explore the beautiful natural resources of Brazil. And I grew up with stories about how beautiful the country is. And my family is actually from Rio de Janeiro, which is one of the largest cities. It's a beach coastal city, and we are going to explore that as well. But the first thing we're going to do is look at the 15 most beautiful and spectacular places in Brazil. And we're going to look at the top 10 beaches. And when you see these places, you're going to want to take a vacation there and bring your bathing suit and sunblock. Next, we're going to go to what is probably, besides Rio de Janeiro, is probably the most famous part of Brazil, and that is the Amazon rainforest. So here we're going to explore the animals in the Amazon rainforest, and there's a lot of ones that probably are some of your favorites, like sloths, for example. Brazil has the most species of monkeys in the world. There's tons of butterflies, beautiful frogs, and so you're going to get to explore that. And then you're going to learn a little bit about the climate of the rainforest and how rain is so important to the climate and the survival of the species. Something very interesting about the Amazonian River, it's called the Amazon rainforest because the Amazon River runs through it. And it is such a huge river with so many things in it. And one of the amazing things that is in it is actually pink dolphins. They're freshwater dolphins and they're pink. So there's a video there teaching you about that. And there's also a book here that has been written about the rainforest where the cat in the hat from Dr. Seuss goes to the rainforest. So that's a nice little read aloud for you of the ones who have parents who have the younger kids. You can do a read aloud with them for some reading because we want to be practicing our reading, our writing, and our math throughout these next few weeks. Next, so Brazil has all kinds of climates. There's actually even some parts of Brazil where it snows a little bit in the winter in the very south of Brazil. So that's an interesting fact that a lot of people don't know. And although it's not a ton of snow, it's enough to go skiing. But they do also have desert, and they have Sahara, and they have the Amazon rainforest. So there's a lot of different parts of the country that have different kinds of climates, just like the United States, because it's so big. One of the coolest things that I have discovered about my own family's country that I actually did not know about before I started doing this trip is that in the desert during the rainy season, what happens is it does rain more than most other deserts. And the rain collects and creates this fascinating phenomenon called desert oasis lagoons. And it's just like, imagine a desert, but in between all the sand dunes, there's these beautiful springs that you can go swimming in. That is so cool. You got to check that out if you don't look at anything else today. That is really cool. And then something else that they have there is on the border of Brazil and Argentina. They have Iguazu Falls, and it's a very huge, beautiful waterfall area, and with lots of mountains and cutoffs, and you can go hiking there or on a boat and check that out. And then we have Rio de Janeiro, which is not the capital city. It used to be. Now it's Brasilia. But we have these great 2 videos where a couple kids go exploring the different popular things to do in the city. And one of those is probably one of the most famous things about the city is one of the wonders of the world, is considered to be one of the wonders of the world, is a big statue of Christ the Redeemer all the way at the top of this highest peak of Rio. So I think that would be pretty cool for you to check out the way that you get there too, on these little cable cars that take you up. So that's the exploration of the regions and the cities and the beaches. And now we're going to talk about Brazilian culture, because it's something that is very precious to the Brazilian people. We very much have some things that unite us, and we believe are part of our identity. And one of those things is soccer. Now, we don't call it that. Pretty much nowhere else in the world calls it soccer. Mostly everyone calls it football. In Brazil, the common accent is called futebol. And there are some videos here about what it is to be part of the football culture in Brazil. It is literally like eating, breathing, and sleeping football. So that is there for you to watch. It's we don't have anything like it in America. You'll see when you check it out. So the very interesting thing about Brazilian soccer is that the culture of samba and samba music and carnival, because a lot of people enjoy samba dancing, and men, women, all ages, and it's the style of that has worked its way into the style that they play soccer in Brazil. So there's a really cool video on how those two things blend. And then there's the history of the bicycle kick, because there is some discrepancy over which country the bicycle kick started in. So there's that too. And if you want to get some exercise, there's some Brazilian football, soccer skill moves that you can try at home. And the Brazil hosted the FIFA World Cup in 2014, and so I have the opening ceremony there with a really fun performance from Pitbull and Jennifer Lopez. Interesting enough, Brazil also hosted 4 years later the Olympics, and that was the first time ever that a city in South America ever hosted the Olympics. So then we're going to move on to what I already touched upon, which is Carnaval and Samba. And Carnaval is celebrated all over the world, but it is known to be the ultimate celebration, the best parade in the world, and the best celebration in the world is in Brazil. So like Brazil basically splits their calendar into before Carnaval and after Carnaval. That's how important it is to Brazilian culture. And one of the largest parades and celebrations is in the city of Rio de Janeiro. And so this explains what Carnaval is around the world and some fascinating facts about it in Brazil in particular, and the history of those beautiful samba costumes. And then there's a cute Disney Mickey video about Carnaval. And then the thing about Brazil is there's two major genres of music that were created there. Is samba, which is also a dance that goes with it. So when you say samba, it means the music and the dance, either or both. And bossa nova, you can explore on your own as well. Very relaxing for studying and doing your reading and writing and math. So samba is a historical dance. It has a lot of things that brought it to fruition. And there's a video here explaining that, and then also explaining how to do the samba. So again, Mr. John will be very happy if you watch these videos and try doing some of the samba dancing on your own. There's videos here for women and for men, boys or girls. And then we have Brazilian food. And let me tell you, when I walk into my grandmother's kitchen, even to this day, I get so excited because Brazilians know how to cook and eat, let me tell you. So we have this funny video of American kids trying Brazilian food. And then we have these people who like to travel around the world and explore the different dishes from different countries. So there's going to be 4 dishes you're going to watch how they make it and what it's like to eat it. And that is the national dish of Portugal is feijoada, and that is beans, mostly a bean dish, and is very delicious. And then there's churrasco, which is how they grill their meats. If you are a vegetarian, maybe don't watch that one. Maybe stick to some of the other videos about the food. And because Brazil has some of the Brazil and Argentina too have some of the best meat in the world because of the way that the cows graze on the natural grass and stuff. So they very much enjoy their meats in the culture of eating meat. They're called going to a churrascaria. And then they have a lot of street food because they have like a lot of big cities with millions and millions of people. And then, of course, the most famous Brazilian chocolate truffles, brigadeiro. And because Brazil has, a lot of they grow bananas and lots of other fruits and lots of coffee and lots of cocoa beans. Then we're going to learn about a style of dance that mixes martial arts called capoeira. Again, you could try it out, get your exercise in. And then we're going to learn to speak some Portuguese. Now, one of the most interesting things I will tell you about Portuguese is if you already speak or know some Spanish, a lot of the words are like almost exactly the same, but they have a different pronunciation. And you'll see that in some of these videos on how to count and some body part words for body parts and zoo animals, very similar to Spanish, but with different accent. Something that is very different, though, from Portuguese to Spanish is in Spanish, when we say thank you, we say gracias. But in Portuguese, we say obrigado. So that word is different. So if you learn nothing else today about the Portuguese language, it's obrigado is how you say thank you. And then finally, we have the music and art of Brazil. There's a video here on how to make one of the shakers that they make to play the samba music with things that you have at home. So you could do a little craft video. There's a video on a craft there that you can do at home and then make some music with it. Sesame Street has a video on how what different kinds of South American drums. And then, of course, I know a lot of you have seen the movie Rio, and there's a nice samba song there from the movie for fun for you to dance to and listen to. And then we have an artist, a couple artists from Brazil. Street art is very popular there, and so you'll learn a little bit about that. And then after the trip, after you explore what you feel like exploring, you can fill out the rest of the virtual field trip log. And then there's a discussion guide for you to talk with your families and friends about the trip. And then some bonus challenges if you'd like to try them out this week. So we appreciate you just keeping up with your work and connecting with your teachers. We miss you. We can do this. We're almost there. And just obrigado. See you next time. Adeus.